the beautiful thing about Kentucky Downs is obviously how unique it is. It is one of these special locations that since it's such a short meet, everyone has, and the purses are so high that it just makes everyone want to go down there. And then you add on top of it how unique Kentucky Downs is, and in their configuration and in the feeling there is down there. It almost feels like a really specialized fair meet, kinda. It has like a nice family atmosphere out there, and we get a run for a lot of money. I mean, how much better can we get it for that? And the course itself is really unique to ride. You get some horses that really like to run over it, and it's really nice because you can actually use your brain a little bit in going around, instead of just having to go and just take a left and go at the quarter pole. At least here you got a few options about how you go up down the backside, how you travel into the turn, the way they place the rail on some of the days differentiate between the days, and it's just a really unique place that's really exciting from the moment you get down there to the moment we leave. You know, everything about that place is exciting. Even your cheapest races that you run have a flair for dramatics down there, just for because you're never really sure how your horse is going to handle it down there, and that obviously gives you optimism that hopefully that they'll like that turf course, and that they'll run good down there. It's a really fun course because it's the only time, well, in America at least, that you go uphill right-handed, and if you follow the fence, you're doing it wrong, pretty much. And it's really exciting when you got a little horse and you're going up the hill, and you can press somebody out of a spot or into a spot that's going to put them into a bad spot, going back into the left-handed downhill turn. So it gets real interesting. There's a lot more jockeying for position up the backside and into the turns, and you got to really remind yourself that second bend isn't the bend that you really want to like go for home on. It's you always feel like you have a chance down there, even if you're riding a 90 to 1 shot or 100 to 1 shot. You always have this thing in the back of your head that goes, if this horse likes this course, he can run good, or they can run good, you know, which is what you want.
And what about the stretch? Because it's a dog leg.
Yeah, it's a weird configuration for the stretch, and it kind of gets your mind in a position where you're not like following your course line like you normally do. Like normally when you come or I should say myself, you come down the lane, you almost pick a place at the end of the lane that's straight, and once you've ridden the racetrack more than 20 times, then you kind of get it in your head. But and then you kind of pick that marker, and then that's where you know how straight you are, so you're not coming over, or how far you're coming over, so you know exactly where you're at. But down there it gets a little more difficult because the racetrack is obviously kind of cornered back to the left, like it kind of dog legs, and then it will continue to go in. But it depends on where they have the rail at, because sometimes they'll have the rail at where they'll push it out even a little further, so it's not so much more in, so it's not in as much. But if they put it like further down, then it really starts going left, and then it makes that first turn a lot sharper.
Do you walk the course much down there?
I walk the course every single day I ride down there.
Because it changes so much depending on where the rail is, and also just checking out
just to see what path I like, especially going up the hill. I really like to pick out the firmest part for me. I mean, I've gotten on some horses that like soft turf, that don't want to struggle up that hill. You know, any advantage I can get going up that hill, I feel like is an advantage for me to go back down the hill. So if I don't have to use as much energy and I find a decent spot going up, then I'll hopefully conserve that for going back down. And it is funny because you got to take a hold of them going up the hill, but like you were saying earlier, you almost kind of have to toss their head to go back down it, because you're going back down and to the left, and that turn gets a little tight because it meets at like an intersection from where the turn is to where the rail was. So a lot of people want to like funnel into that turn. That's why you see the baby races are such a even more hectic than normal baby races, just because when we're at the 3/4 part, we're kind of faced in, so the inside horses want to come out and the outside horses want to come in, and they're all going downhill and they're all going into the turn. So I mean, it can kind of get a little hairy out there, but that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah,
really.
and every race is 12 horses, just about.
Yeah, so it's always, I mean, you got to have your head on, every time you go out there, even if you're not the livest, or your horse isn't really taking you there, you really have to pay attention.
And it also gives extra credence to the phrase, you got to be in to win, because that's half the battle sometimes, is your horse getting in the entries.
Yes,
down there.
That is more than half the battle, I thought. I mean, there's been, obviously you don't hear about them because they go on, the races go on, and the winners come with that. But I feel like even in the last couple of years, I thought I missed out on a few winners just because, or at least horses that should have got close, just because they didn't make it in the entries. So that's the first race you got to win, is to the entry box, and the second one is to the wire.